Hello there. Let's try and get Orion Hub working. So if I search for Orion Hub, I will find this site, orionhub.org, and this is an online cloud IDE editor, and it is made by the people who made Eclipse, which is a IDE usually used for Java, but they put it online, and we're going to try and get it working just to run a simple, basic JavaScript, HTML, CSS website. So I'm going to sign in. I'm going to sign in with GitHub, and let's see, I am already logged into GitHub just through another page or tab under my account. And so when I log in with GitHub on Orion Hub, it just goes there and sees that I'm already logged in. And so I just authorize it. Now it requires you to put in a username and your email to finish the registration, but it should just be the same stuff that was from GitHub. And then you are going to be sent a registration email to that email address. Once you receive the email, it's just going to have a link that you click on, and then it will say, congratulations, you have confirmed. So then it's kind of primitive. It doesn't redirect you anywhere or do anything for you. You just have to go back to the website and log in. So let's go back to the website, sign in with GitHub, and hopefully it just goes to the editor and doesn't ask you to log in again or do anything weird like that. Okay, so now you have an empty workspace, which kind of sort of looks familiar. You've got this left side where all your files show up when you open a project, and then this right side panel, this is where the code will show up whenever you click on a specific file. The interface is really simple. It's not very pleasant. It's very basic. So hopefully this shouldn't be confusing because they just keep it really straightforward. And that's usually how Eclipse does things. So what we want to do is import a repository from your GitHub account. So if I'm on my GitHub, I don't have anything. So what I'm going to want to do is fork a repo. So there's something in my account first. So if I find a repo that is very, very simple, it's just one HTML file, JS, and CSS. I'm going to fork it to my own account. Then I'll take this link and I'll go back to the Orion Hub, and I'm going to say, let's see, I'm going to go to the Git tab over here on the left, and then I'm going to say repository, clone repository. I'm going to paste that URL in there and submit. It's going to download that repository, and then you will see the history of that repository, and then you can do normal Git stuff in this interface. But first, we have to go back to the editor so we can actually see the code and make changes. Okay, so it will load up, and you have your typical folder structure with the main folder, and then you have the files that were in the repo. If you right-click directly on the root node, the root folder, then you can do new file, new folder, all that stuff, cut and paste, all the typical stuff that you can do with files. But you might want to run, one thing is you might want to run this website. So there is an index.html file, and you might want to run it as a real running live website, which this part of the process is kind of awkward. So there's a play button up here, but it doesn't work. So for websites, you go to this tab called Sites, and Again, the interface is really simple and not very intuitive, but you create a new site, you just name it. So just call it test. Then I'll say submit, and then it will say, here's the name, and then we have to go to mappings. So the test site needs to be mapped to your folder structure, which if you add a mapping, it should show you everything that you already have in your workspace. So we had this JS function grid project. The path is just the folder because that is the folder that has all the code in it. So that's all we need to do. I'm not sure what mount at path server path means, but if we, so as soon as you add it, it's already there, it's already saved. You don't have to do anything else. You can click on this folder, which is going to open the running website. So you can see like orionhub.org. This is like real. And you could just technically just go to the index HTML file and see your site running there. Another way is to start it. So this is how you actually really see the website running in reality. And then it starts a test thing. And then once you start it, it gives you a URL that's actually live. Click on the URL, and it doesn't go to the default file, which is kind of weird, but you just have to manually go there and it works fine. Okay, so you see our simple website running as expected. So if we go back to the IDE, we will click on the editor so we can show something that working, that it actually works if you change anything. So the point of this is to, whoops, what did that do? I double clicked on this and it opened it in a new window. So I only want to single click, unless you want it in a new window, but we just want to single click each file so that it just opens up right over here. So let's see. If I changed some of this code, so I'm going to change what's in the JavaScript file. I'm just going to say make row 2, 2, and make it blue, I guess. That sounds great. I'll save it, and then I'll go to where the website's still running, and we can see that it actually updated it, and your code is making the interface change. So let's go back, and I say, that's awesome, I made this change. Everything's ready to, everything's as I want it, so I want to save it back to GitHub. So we're going to go back to Git, and we're going to the Git tab on the left side. We're going to choose the Git thing, and we are going to do the normal Git process, the Git commit and the Git push. So the interface for doing Git commands, you cannot type these commands out through a terminal emulator. You just have to use their interface, which is actually not that bad. It's a GUI, graphical user interface, so you're not using the command line, which is not ideal, but it's fine for the simplest scenarios. So whenever you change files, of course, the first thing you do is you commit. So there is this commit area, and commits require a message. But actually, in order to keep things a little bit simpler, if we go to settings, and then we go to Git, we can put in this information here so that it will be pre-populated and we don't have to keep typing this part over and over. So it makes something a little bit easier, but still there's a few quirks with this interface that are slightly a pain. So if we go back, enter the commit message, first commit, and then I say commit, well, you have to enter this information over and over. So that's kind of annoying. Um, we'll just do it for now. There might be a way around this, but I am not aware of it at this point, but that's fine. It still works. And then you select which files you want to commit. Just select all, and then you commit it. So now you can say that that commit is recorded in your Git database. And now, so if I go to my repository for this project and I refresh, I'll see that nothing has changed. It's still saying this file was modified 2 years ago. And if you go to the script thing, our change isn't there. That's because the second thing we have to do is the push. So once you commit, there is another button or drop down, say push all, push branch, yeah, push all. So we can just do a simple push, and then you have to put in your password, username and password. Again, normally, if you're using the Git CLI, you wouldn't have to do this because it would just save it. And so this is kind of a pain, but it still works. So it's not a big deal. It works. It's just not the easiest thing. So if we go back to the repository, let me close that other window, and I refresh, now I can see that change is there, and the code I put is in there. So again, if I then go back to my site tab, I had started a site, and then I opened it. It's a little awkward because it won't go to the default file, but I just have to type it in, and then it's there. So this interface is okay. It works. It does what we need it to do in terms of being able to clone from GitHub, downloading the repository, displaying the folder structure, being able to edit it, save it, launch it in an actual running website, and then to do all the Git commands. So git commit and git push to get it back saved to the repository. It's a little crude, it's a little awkward, but it works. Now the question is, will it work on your computer with slow, unreliable internet? So we'll see about that. Hopefully it does. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching.